Imagine that you had left your home maybe the night before, maybe very, very early before sunrise. You'd left your home on foot. You heard about this man from Galilee who was preaching, and he seemed to carry a lot of wisdom and even the power to heal with his words. And so you set out again the night before, early in the morning, and you listen to him, and as the day goes along, it's like, gosh, I'm hungry, but then you get caught up again on what he's saying, and you kind of forget that you're just really hungry. It's not far-fetched. The first time I was ever dehydrated, I didn't even think about drinking. I mean, I really didn't. Water, that is. I had gone through the day and I had, drunk a little bit here and there, and it didn't really hit me until all of a sudden I got just really lightheaded and couldn't even hardly stand, that I hadn't been drinking water all day much. And I suspect that's something about what happened to these folks, They just got caught up in the day and felt it a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're just famished. And I think you know what comes with being famished. Most of the time we get a little crabby, don't we? A little tired, maybe even to the point of weary, and maybe scared. Got a long way home. Didn't look ahead at this. I don't know if I got the energy to even make it home tonight. All that's going on, in the midst of the day. And then you begin to see that what you needed, the food you needed in this case, what you needed was there all the time. It was right there. It was right in front of you. It was there all the time. And it was more than enough. It was there all the time, and it was more than enough. It's almost like for them, like for all of us, when we walk into a dark room, and at first we see nothing in that room. It's just dark. You don't see anything there. But then your eyes start to adjust, and you start to see things that were there all the time. Even though you couldn't see them, they were there all the time. When your eyes adjust. Maybe one of the things that keeps us from seeing is we just get a little greedy, don't we? We see too quickly what's wrong in a situation, what's missing, who's missing. This moment, this wedding, this conversation, this Mass doesn't live up to our standards, our expectations. What we were hoping for didn't happen. And instead of seeing what was there all the time still, right in front of our very eyes, instead of seeing it, we miss it. We miss the blessing that was there all the time. While I was on retreat the week before last, I made a habit out of getting down at sunset and watching the sunsets, and a couple of them were absolutely spectacular. I mean, just unbelievable. And then there was this third one. And I guess my expectations were kind of high, And the clouds came in at all the wrong times, and it was just a total fizzle. But then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm on this retreat, I'm having this incredible, delicious solitude. The breeze was gorgeous. Why was I all getting grumpy about this sunset that wasn't happening for me? Little thing, but a very concrete example from my own life. I have a priest friend who was swimming one afternoon, and the visibility was probably 100 feet underwater. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous ocean. And all of a sudden he came to this place in the ocean where all of a sudden he couldn't see his hand in front of his face. It was just like all turned up. And he started to get disappointed and kind of, this was so good, now what? But as he stayed there, he began to see in that churning water these two huge turtles doing what turtles do. And he almost gasped and drowned. And he told me afterwards, he goes, Gary, it just hit me between the eyes. How greedy I get sometimes for more. And it just occurred to me, all I need to do is just take a breath. And everything else is extra. All I need to do is just know that I'm breathing. And everything else is extra. Sometimes we go to Mass. Last Sunday I went to Mass in a parish, and I was sitting in the pews like you all do, and I don't know how you do it. It was awful. Oh my gosh. If this priest prepared that homily for a minute, it would have been a miracle. And the music was this, sing a new song unto the Lord, let your song be sung. Just was driving me bonkers. And I was so mad, partly because I care about this stuff. I was so mad, I didn't even know if I could go to communion. I'm serious. I was just furious at this. And then, by some grace beyond myself, I just looked out the window, and there's this beautiful flowering tree. I don't even know the name of it, in the window. And it's like, golly, there's so much here. There's so much here. I was disappointed in many things about it, but there's so much there. Sometimes when it's not what we hope for, we miss the gifts that are there, and we're there all the time. It happens sometimes when we go to parties, you know, a dinner party, a party in the evening, on campus, whatever, you're really excited about it, hopeful, and it's just totally lame. And you just try to weasel out of it, however you can find a way to get out of there as quickly as possible, and then all of a sudden, you see somebody you haven't seen for a while, you know, and you find out there's a lot of people there just waiting for somebody to ask them how they're doing. I was there all the time. Those good people were there all the time. But it wasn't quite what I was looking for, and so I just get disgruntled, you know, and want to escape. We wait on our birthdays for that one call, you know, that one call from that girl or that guy. Just that one call. And it never comes. And we miss all the other people that called that day to say I love you. It reminds me of an old quote that somebody sent me a long time ago that I still think about. I think I've shared before, is, only when the sun sets do you see how beautiful the stars are. The stars are there all the time. But when the sun goes away, you see what was there all the time, and it's beautiful. Business these days, things are going pretty poorly. Our businesses are not performing like we wanted to. We're not bringing in the money we had hoped. We can get scared to the point of not even being able to sleep at night. And then we take that breath and realize, I'm breathing. You know what? I'm breathing. I'm breathing. And everything else is extra. How many times do we waste our lives wishing we were married or had a partner of some sort, and we just yearn and pine, get crabby, depressed, give up on God because we haven't found that person it seems like everybody else has. And I'm here to tell you that same person has friendships that so many people would be hungry for. But because it wasn't the one, you know? Our eyes have to adjust to the dark, else all we'll see is dark. But when they adjust, we start to see what's there all the time. It's summertime, my friends. It's summertime. It's a beautiful day in St. Louis. I can't believe it's almost August. I think it's a great time in the summer to step back a little bit and ask ourselves, is the promise of this gospel for real or not? It's time to step back from our lives just enough and ask ourselves if this is true or not, that God will always give me what I need to make it through the day, what I need to flourish, that it's going to be there. Even if I'm not seeing it, it's right there all the time. That my eyes really can adjust these summer days to what's right under my nose, that is pure blessing and pure gift, more than I could have asked for. That I can take that breath these summer days and know that that's enough and everything else is extra. I know today will have its sorrows, more than enough sorrows. I know there'll be a lot of broken-hearted moments in a day. Those are real, and life can be terrible, terrible sometimes. I know it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I know the stories of human beings that are tragic beyond words, but trust me, I do not say this glibly, and I do not say it naively. You can trust your life to be enough for you. You can trust this moment, this experience, this hour, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, to be enough for you, as it is, as it is. And if you start to pick up the pieces of your shattered life, you'll find, like the disciples did, that there's more than enough here. There's more than enough. 12 baskets more than we even needed, they tell us. Every Mass, hopefully every day, you pray, Our Father who art in heaven, give us this day, our daily bread. And you know what? That prayer is answered. That prayer is answered, and you get your daily bread. You get what you need. You get it. Your needs are met more than enough today. And because that's true, and if you look at your life, you'll know this is true. I have no doubt about that you'll know this is true. Then you got enough evidence to face your future with some sort of peace, no matter the anxieties that wake you in the night. You'll have enough to know that you can face your future with some sort of peace, no matter how hungry you get. Daeno. Daeno. It's a Hebrew word. The Jews sing of it every Passover. Daeno. Roughly translated, that word means it would have been enough. It would have been sufficient. Had God not done this for us, it still would have been enough. Had God not done the next good thing, the first good thing was still enough. It was still sufficient. It was. Daeno. It would have been enough, even if nothing else happened. It's a song that they sing that every Passover, like I said, that is almost a little tongue-in-cheek. It's almost like this gentle self-scolding for missing this. Not rough on themselves, not being rough on themselves, almost with a little sense of humor, even by the way it sounds when they sing it. It goes something like this. Daeno, 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 it would have been enough. Every Passover they sing that. God made us a people, and then God called us out of Egypt. But even if God never called us out of Egypt, we were people. And then He called us out of Egypt, and He kept us alive through the desert. And even if He didn't keep us alive in the desert, it would have been enough to have been a people who got called out of Egypt. Daeno, 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 it would have been enough. One good thing, then another good thing. And if the second good thing never happened, what happened in the first place would have been enough. If nothing else happened to you. I'd like you to sing that with me and ask yourself if you trust that that's true. Daeno, 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 it would have been enough. Just the ladies. I want you to hear yourself saying this now. Ladies. Guys. Daeno, Everybody. Die, die, no. Die, die, no. Die, die, no. It would have been enough. And you know what? It would have been.